Welcome everybody to our Yin Yoga practice today, 30 minutes of Yin on the wall. My name is Eleni. Thank you for joining me. So let's go ahead and get started on the wall. We'll start in seated here, working our way as close as we can, and then shimmying or swiveling the legs up the wall. So we'll extend the legs up and then try to bring your sitting bones as close to the wall as possible, maybe even touching. We'll come into our first posture, which is a dragonfly pose. Most of the time we do this seated in a straddle pose. So here you might use 2 blocks underneath the outer edges of the thighs to support you. And just take up space here, allowing the legs to come as wide as comfortable. And try to let the feet relax here. So one of the beauties of taking our practice onto the floor and bringing the legs up is that we can always keep that extension through the spine, gravity being our friend here, and not worrying about putting too much pressure on the back. So here we can really focus on the lower body for this portion of the practice. I encourage everybody to make sure that you modify, take different variations, use props to make sure that each of these poses is the most safe and practical for your body. And as you get settled in here, just start to notice and observe your breath. Perhaps connecting the palms to the rib cage here, or just letting the arms fall beside you. Allow the breath to move in and out like a gentle wave, the ebb and flow of the breath. Inviting presence, awareness, observation of our practice, of our physical body, our mental well-being, and giving ourselves permission in this space to just be here now with our practice and our breath, allowing this safe and sacred space to be full of our own inner light without needing to do anything, get anything. Allowing this space to just be a place of exploration, some relaxation, that most precious me time. Within each of our holds, start to observe how the body may shift on that physical or energetic level. So as we hold for a little bit longer, you may feel a deepening and opening through the tissue. You may feel a release of tension. So just observe what arises. Notice what is comfortable for your arms. Please find any variation that's comfortable for your arms. Settling in here, we'll find a couple more breaths in our dragonfly. From here, gently start to draw your legs in using your hands. Just take it so gently here and slowly. Let's come into a counter pose here, either extending the legs or just drawing the knees to the chest, maybe holding here, or just taking a little rock right to left. We'll start to move into butterfly pose. Outer edges of the feet touch, knees come nice and wide. Here is another chance to use 2 blocks to support the outer edges of the thighs if that works for you. So I'll be using my hands in a moment here to support the thigh. So I'm not going to be pushing the knee towards the wall or pushing the pose into a different shape than it is now. But when we're on the back, we can support ourselves by using our hands as a prop. So up to you, right? If you're comfortable with your arms beside the body or overhead, feel free to take the shape that works best for your body. So here, our target area is the outer hip. Notice where you feel sensation. Continue to tune in throughout your practice and make sure that things feel safe and comfortable. It's normal in yin to feel that very dull ache as we hold, as the tissues create more space. We do want to avoid any type of sharp pain, so your body will always let you know if something is not right, and always listen to the body's wisdom, knowing that your practice is unique to your body every single day and every single moment. So once you find a space of stillness here, just start to observe how this shape feels. Maybe we do this pose sitting more often. Notice what it feels like to be grounded here on the back. And gently begin to guide the knees in, and we'll extend the legs up. You might windshield wiper the feet right to left or bend the knees again. So let your counter pose be intuitive to you. This next one we're doing is a shoelace on the wall, so a little bit more intense for the hips. You can always keep your bottom leg lengthened here. So if you're taking both, the full bind, you're going to bend your right knee and then bring your left knee directly on top so that your knees would be stacked. If this is way too much, way too intense, keep your bottom right leg extended up and just cross the left knee. And that will take a little bit of the intensity out of that right hip. So settle in here. The inner thighs are working towards each other. So this isn't a figure 4 where there's a gap here between. It's almost like you're sitting cross-legged. That's the effect of the legs coming in towards midline. Start to notice what's comfortable for the arms. Maybe draping them overhead or beside the body. Find that place of settling here. Slow breath. Softness through the face. Give about 5 more deep and full breaths. And then gentle release. So extending that bottom leg up first and then release the top. Little windshield wipers here with the feet, or you can bend the knees and do a little bit of a bigger windshield wiper. Might feel nice to open up the hips here. Take that butterfly pose. Feeling into your rebound posture, noticing what feels right for you. We'll start with the other side, extending the legs up. Left knee comes in and bends, and then right knee on top, stacking the knees, inner thigh working toward each other, or extend the left leg up and have it long against the wall so that it's not so intense for that outer left hip. So you can try both. You can keep the leg up for a couple breaths or a minute or so and then come into the full bind. Just do what feels best for you. Just a few more breaths here. And slow release. If that bottom knee is bent, go ahead and extend it up. Release the top knee. Little windshield wipers here, or bend the knees. Maybe that butterfly pose. Maybe just hugging the knees to the chest or giving yourself a rock here without using the wall. And then we're going to come into our deep squats pose. It could also resemble a frog pose. So the feet are going to come wide. The knees are in line with the toes. We're going to bend the knees. Now, if this is way too intense for the inner thigh or the groin area, I'll encourage you to come back up and scooch back just a little bit so there's some space between you and the wall. Having the hips this low may not be best for everybody. So the knee is bent here, and your feet are gently pressing into the wall. So you can imagine almost like a horse stance when you're standing, or a deep squat, and the heels would be a little closer if that was the case. So notice if you need a little bit of space between the wall or not. Modify accordingly. And then find your resting place. Relax the arms. Notice that target area, inner thigh. Breathe into that space. Observe where else you feel this posture working. And give about 3 more breaths here. And then gently release, slide the legs back up. A little bit of movement if that feels good. Allow the knees to come into the chest. Let's rock onto one side and gently press up through seated. And we're going to face one side, so coming into our starfish here on the wall. So I'm facing the right side. My right arm is closest to the wall. I'm going to start to reach my arm back to about 3 o'clock. It's a little bit higher. You can have your palm flush against the wall, or you can also tent your fingers and create like a cupcake shape. Now my body is not flush against the wall, but if you wanted it to be, you could take a different seat where you were kneeling here and get your side body closer if you'd like. This can be really intense. We're not going to hold too long. But just find that place of stillness here. Find that space where your left hand can rest, either on the left thigh, on the right leg, on the hip, whatever feels good. And then breathe deeply into that right space of the chest, the shoulder, and feel the stretch moving down your arm all the way to the fingertips. This variation of starfish we often do starting from our belly. So you may have done this where you roll onto one side. Even that variation is also quite intense. So if you wanted to take the body weight out of it, you could always take this seated variation instead. Just a couple more breaths here. We're not going to be too long. And then release, just slide your arm down the wall. Go ahead and take a tall seat and roll the shoulders a couple times up, down, and back. And then we'll take it to the other side. So just spin around to your opposite side. You can take a kneeling position or you can come into a cross-legged seat. Get close to the wall, but again, doesn't have to be flush. Reach that opposite arm back behind you, coming into that 3 o'clock-ish position. You can see I do have a tiny micro bend through my elbow, so I'm not hyperextending this joint. And then try to soften here within the intensity. So notice the structure of the face. Are we squeezing? Are we clenching? And then try to just consciously relax the forehead, the jaw. Here's where we can really use our breath as a tool. Breath as a tool always, especially in these bigger, deeper, more intense postures. Big breaths in, slow breaths out, full body breaths, full belly breaths. And then it helps sometimes to visualize the breath. You breathe into the space where you feel the most intensity. And then as you exhale, you start to release any tension. And you might hear that often in yoga classes, and it's a visualization, but breath really does help to create space. So we will still feel the tension even as we're breathing, but it's a tool. Go ahead and release. Roll the shoulders a couple times. Observe and notice. And we're going to make our way back onto the wall just to finish up here with our twist. So bringing the hips, sitting bones as close to the wall as possible. Hug the knees into the chest. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, let the knees fall to the right or the left. You can have your feet pressing into the wall as a little bit of a prop here and reach out with your opposite arm. If there's space between the knees, grab a block here. Just a couple breaths to settle in. And inhale, come back through the center, and exhale over to the other side. Inhale slowly, coming back up. Find our Shavasana here, legs up the wall. If you would like to come off the wall, feel free to take a traditional Shavasana as well. And here we rest, releasing our practice, taking that last sweep of awareness through the body to notice all the work, all the deep intensity, and then start to release this practice completely. And allow the body and the mind to start to settle into this place of sweet, soft relaxation. Feeling that gentleness and kindness of our energy and our inner light sweep throughout the body. Staying just as you are, starting to reawaken here, wiggling the toes, the fingers, the ankles and wrists. Maybe the arms reach overhead and the knees come into the chest. We'll rock onto one side. And let's gently begin to press up here when you're ready. And we can use the wall once again as a prop to sit and elongate the spine. Reaching the arms up on the inhale and hands to the heart on the exhale. Thank you so much for joining me today for this practice. Wishing you all peace, love, and light on your journey. Namaste. If you enjoyed this practice, please like, subscribe, and comment below. And if you enjoy guided meditation or gentle yin music, please check out the link in the description. Mindful Metta is the sister channel that I work with, so you can find all the meditations there that I do. Thank you so much, everybody. Peace.